Fine?
Oh, yeah.
Do we need a break?
No.
Okay, cool. So, this takes a minute to turn back on, but user error. I agree, it's 100% of the time it's user error.
Little green button on the side.
Ah,
And it's got to be held, and that's got to pop on less battery.
okay, so 99.9%. There's a 0.01% where it's the battery and it's not user error. Cool? So let's keep rocking. Let me field some questions for you, like the young lady just posed for me. What are some other questions y'all might want to know about? Even though it wasn't a question, it's more mistake. Is this interesting for y'all?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
What is it, attorneys, and then eviction attorneys?
Well, we do specialized stuff. Thank you, sir. We do specialized stuff, so we have an eviction attorney everywhere. We're always going to have an eviction attorney if we're holding tenants. Okay? And I want to have that before I buy a tenant occupied property as well. We also have a general specialist real estate attorney to protect us just in general dealings, to oversee contracts and that type of thing. Now, I write a lot of my own contracts. I feel very comfortable with statutes and how they're written and interpretation, and so I write my own stuff, but I always get a secondary look on them. So that's a real estate specialist for attorney for real estate in general, contracts, etc. Then we happen to do some stuff with negotiating debt and some kind of bank-oriented debt forgiveness and stuff like that. So we have a specialist that's a real estate attorney that I think I'm better at that than he is, but he has the attorney's license, and when he shows it to the lender, they move out of the way, versus when they do it with me, they resist me. So we use him for that purpose. So we have a specialist that brings certain talents to the table. Yeah. And that's just relative to how we buy and sell. Y'all with me? Okay? So let's keep rocking. It shifted on me, it's already red again. There we go. So let's talk about some recent case studies. Is that okay? So, how many of you in the room, let's back up, how many of you in the room want to or are thinking about wholesaling? Who maybe kind of sort of is interested in wholesaling but is just not convinced it's real? Or maybe that it's not for them? Nobody? I heard a over there.
I just need more information
Okay, gotcha. Here's the beginning and the end of what you need to know about wholesaling. Okay? Wholesaling is nothing more than flipping real estate. You're just flipping the paper or the contract, which is the right to buy real estate. It's not the actual real estate. So by nature, if you have the right to buy something, you also have the right to sell something. Do you understand that? This is classic options and puts from the stock market, right? You have the right to buy something, and so therefore you have the right to sell something. Okay? Doesn't mean you have to buy it before you can sell it. That's a misnomer. And so that's wholesale. You can also wholesale any of these. Now the idea was that a traditional wholesale is going to go here, or possibly here if somebody's going to hold it, but you'd wholesale it to the investor or wholesale it to the rehabber. And they would either fix it up and hold it or fix it up and flip it. But you can also get a lease with an option to buy under contract, and you could flip it to an end user. If you have the rights to the contract, you also to purchase or make the contract happen, you can also sell those rights. You follow me? There's really one fundamental issue you need to be aware of. Depending on what state you're in, the statutes allow for assignment of contracts or not by default. So if you're in a state that does not allow you to assign a contract unless the contract says that, then your contract needs to say this contract's assignable. Are you with me? I.e. two differences. I don't know about California yet because we're still playing and learning over here.
Assignable.
It is assignable by default.
Yes, unless otherwise stated.
Unless otherwise
And
stated.
the standard card form
Yeah.
does not address it, so it's assignable.
Got it. Okay, so here's an interesting aspect. Just because it says it or doesn't, but requires it to go in, doesn't mean it's illegal to put it in there. Are you following? So a state will say you can't do that or not, or they'll say the default is such, and you have to be aware of the such. So in Arizona, by default, contracts are assignable even if they don't say it. In Nevada, that's not the case. We have to put that in the contract. Are you with me? Just a functional awareness. Guess what I do to fix it? I put it in all my contracts all the time. Solves that problem. I mean, there's just really easy solutions to some mind benders. Are you with me? Questions on that before we go? Okay. You guys are good. Y'all are learning fast. Now we're going to have a session at the end where we provide some opportunities to buy real estate. No, I'm just kidding. So let's talk about recent case studies, and this is some of our students that we've taught in the Outback. So obviously you guys know I'm going to offer you guys a boot camp at the end today, right? Yeah. I think our program's the best ever. It's fundamentals based. It's going to teach you all the fundamentals of how to communicate with people, how to figure out real estate from the person perspective, not the property perspective. That's coming, just for y'all to know, but that's trivial because I want y'all to see what it can do, okay? Is anybody in the room convinced that wholesaling, rehabbing, all this stuff is not real? Or everybody in the room is pretty much a believer?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure, So, RB Avenue, this is a buddy of ours who went through our class 2 years ago. His name is Chris. He did a wholesale transaction. He contacted the absentee seller through direct mail, yellow letters. That's what he likes to send. Are you with me? Specifically, absentee owners or absentee sellers. What does that mean? Absentee, they don't live in the location or the state there. They live out of town generally, but mostly out of state. They're disconnected from the presence of the property. Owner called on the Monday, the property was vacant. By Friday, it had a squatter in it. Went to view the property on Friday, there's a squatter in it. High DMF in the seller. What does DMF stand for again? Distress, motivation, or flexibility, or some version of all of those. The more the merrier. Including to personally pay to remove the squatters. Guess what out-of-state landlords can't stand? Somebody jacking with their property when they can't see it. I.e. a squatter, right? And it tears them up so emotionally, they're willing to give the property away many times at discounts that are unreasonable for even us. But it's because they don't want to jack around with that because they don't know the law in the state and they don't have a real estate attorney like we do. Are you with me? $315,000 ARV. Now that's like a 4-foot bathroom here, right? Yeah, it's a closet. It's a rentable closet. No, in Vegas we're still like somewhat on traditional prices. So 315K ARV. There we go. The rehab was determined to be 50K. Now, if you're rehabbing a property, if you're wholesaling a property, and you're going to put it out to market, is that 50K rehab opinion yours or the buyers coming in? A lot of times it's the buyers. I'm going to challenge you to make it your number. Okay? I'm going to challenge you to make it your number. You're going to be a better wholesaler if you know how much a property needs fixed up with or rehab. This individual, Chris, he's a good marketer. He knows how to make the phone ring. He has the great conversation with the seller. And then he posted an offer to wholesale the property at $245,000. Now, it's really important that y'all know this. He's been developing for several years a list of buyers. Have y'all heard that from Dan at all? Yeah, he heard it probably 6 times today in his first 30 minutes. So he collected a list of buyers, and then he also advertises. Where are you going to advertise for free quickly? Everybody needs to permanently put in their brain Craigslist. It's amazing, okay? You want to advertise there. So he posted an offer to his list and to Craigslist. And within a couple of days, he got 2 responses from buyers that were like actual offers. He closed with one of the buyers in 14 days, and he closed at $245,000, which was his asking price. Do y'all remember what he got it under contract at? 200K. Offered the seller 200K. Okay, now somebody do the math. 200 against 315. It's about, what is it?
115.
No, do the math. Not the minus math. The percentage percentage Mayo math. So it's like 66%, I think. 200K against 315. Like do 200 divided by 315. Anybody? What is it? 65? Yeah, 65%-ish. That's a good ARV for wholesaling a property, yes? But he hasn't considered how much it needs to be fixed, how much it needs to be rehabbed yet. In this particular case, he's letting the frenzy of the market and where we are right now, because he's a market specialist, he's allowing the market to see that. And he says there's so many people buying and so many people that are chasing off these TV shows that they see. I'll let them handle that. So they bid the property at $245,000. Now, if he's right at 50K, what did they just pay retail for the property? $245,000 plus $50,000, $295,000. What kind of discount are they getting? $20,000. Can anybody flip that property and make money? for 20 grand profit. The only person that's going to be able to do that to make any money is if they're licensed and can cushion the commissions with their license, or they can sell it for sale by owner with no commissions. Are you with me? That is a horrible purchase for the rehabber. Horrible. Everybody write that down. Horrible. But this goes on all day, every day, especially in Vegas. But they don't you don't see that from Tarek and Christina and Scott Yancey, do you? They don't ever go, oh, we actually lost 40 grand. They're thinking about, oh, we're going to lose money. And then 3 days later, they sell it for 75 grand profit. Bullshit. It doesn't work that way. So we got to get real about these numbers. But I'm going to let y'all know, as wholesalers, the opportunity in the market is to take advantage of that. Rehabbers are unrealistic. They will overpay for real estate. How do we know that? Because everybody in Southern California is overpaying for real estate all day, every day, at retail prices.
You can see that here.
You can see it.
Go to the courthouse and see the court sales,
Yeah.
the foreclosure sale.
Yeah.
They're paying way over.
At the trustee sale in Vegas, they're buying properties blind. Haven't seen inside. 88, 92% of value, and they need 40 grand to fix that. I'm like, man, what kind of crack are y'all on? The good kind. Yeah, well, it's got to be good. To spend money and lose money every day, you know something I don't. Yes, sir.
So for the rehabber, it's not good for them to take this deal, but for the wholesaler, it's actually good for them?
The wholesaler is the best transaction in the history of mankind. In 2 weeks, he made 43.8 for buying the property right, or at least getting into the contract right. He let the market be what the market is, and they bid it up. This person, this rehabber, effectively bought the property for $295. Horrible purchase when your property's worth $315 ARV. 20 grand in profit on $300K?
But for me, it was good because I'm the one that wholesaler, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
No money in, no sweat, no effort, wrote the contract, flipped it, made 43 grand. How's that not good? That's good on every planet, every... Yes, sir. Go ahead.
You say there's probably a lot of Craigslist ads of rehabbers that got 80% through the job, ran out of money, and went, we got that.
Oh man, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. But here's what they sound like when you talk to them. Well, we're just not going to finish the rehab. I'm just tired of this property, but I don't have to sell. That's a signal that they're lying right through their teeth, right to you. Because they do need to sell. They're just unrealistic. Because guess what? Has anybody in the room loved losing money? Anybody? They're the same way. Be empathetic to them. Say, hey, dude, I totally understand. Audi, I realize that you purchased this property and you're into it for some money and you can't finish it. But it sounds like you really want to sell. Versus you waiting and waiting and waiting and losing more money, what would you be open to for us to create a solution? One of my options is to team up with the DMF seller. I don't have to buy them completely out. If they're so convinced they can sell their property for $395, have them put up to say that. Hey, if we can squeeze this out for $395, I'll give you all your equity. But I don't think it'll sell for more than $315. That's dangerous for me. Would you partner with me so I don't have to put so much more money in? Are you with me? And that's an option too. It's just creative thinking, enlightened thought. Shift the flashlight. Are you with me? But most of us aren't trained this way, are we? Write this down. This will be the second thing, biggest thing today besides DMF. The seller is the best possible partner you will ever have because they already have the piece of real estate leveraged. You don't have to put a single dime into it. Potential. Is this freaking somebody out? Maria, you're looking at me like, dude, coach.
Tell me more.
Okay, I like that. So, interesting aspect, he didn't get the full $45,000. Why not? Because the big kicker on his discount was he didn't say, hey, Audi, it's going to take me $1,200 cash for keys to get them out. He says, you know what? If you'll accept my price at $200K, I'll handle all the tenant issues. How does that sound? What's our answer going to be?
Of course.
Please, thank you. You're the man.
No.
Or you're the coach, whatever it is, right? $1,200 later, he's got a world-class transaction. Now, here's what's interesting, and I'm just going to share y'all what Vegas looks like. Because of the teachers of wholesaling out there, they don't focus you guys or I'm pointing at you guys like everybody. For those of you that are beginners, people teach wholesaling. Oh, it's easy, it's no sweat. No, it's a skill to develop to negotiate a discount. Okay? I want y'all to really know that. It's one of the best skills you can ever learn in real estate. It's what not a lot of people do well. Okay? But they teach them the idea of wholesaling. Just go out there and just write contracts. So you got wholesalers, especially in Vegas, writing properties instead of at 200, they're getting them under contract at like 280. And then they need the 50,000 and fix them. And they're out there fishing and they're trying to sell it to somebody and they're like, I can't get any buyers. I'm like, because you over contracted the property. It's not a good wholesaler. It's a joker sale. It's not a wholesale. It's a joker sale. Are you with me? So to be a great wholesaler, you need one skill: negotiate great discounts. That's it. That's it. The rest is easy. Somebody will always fund your deal. I could find a property here. Let's say your neighborhood. Is your neighborhood maybe $500,000, $1 million, $2 million?
In that area.
Okay, pretty good range, but let's just say. So let's just say it's 1.5 the neighborhood. If I found a property that needed specifically 200 grand in fix up in a 1.5 neighborhood, and I bought it at 1.2, I can't unload it real quickly, can I? But if I get it under contract at 800, are we cooking with gas? Okay, I'm going to let you guys know, hold out and get the 800. It's the best skill you'll ever develop, and it will serve you at high levels. But it's not all over the streets. You won't see bandit signs. Hey, come get my property for 50% of its value. That's never been seen by anybody. It's in the relationship. It's in your ability to meet John, be sensitive to him, empathize with him, understand his situation, sit on the couch with him for a couple hours sometimes, and have conversations around grandkids and motorcycles and lost jobs and history. And it's not the funnest thing, but if you care about people, it's easy. And in that relationship, he says, you know what, I'd really like to sell you my property. I just really need this. And I'll say, well, John, if I meet that need, will you give it to me at this price? And he says, yeah. I said, we're cooking with gas, buddy. Now, I don't know what that actual conversation is, but it'll reveal itself. Most of this room doesn't have the patience for that. Most of this room doesn't buy a discount either. And I know that, like I can say that in front of anybody. I just know I'm right, because I see it every day. Who in the room's got a massive discount recently? 1 out of 22. Okay, slow hand there. We got to play quickly. Okay, good, good. It's an art, isn't it? And it's a science. Is anybody perplexed, or are we okay?
Okay.
Yeah? You guys still learning?
Yeah.
Okay, good, good, good. Questions on this? Other questions? Did I answer your questions, Jason?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
That was great.
It's a killer wholesale.
Yeah,
It sucks for the rehab.
looked great for you.
Huh?
Looked great for you.
Well, not for me. I wasn't the rehab. I wasn't the wholesale. Chris
The
was.
wholesale, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Just because of the profit, did that double close in?
I actually don't know. Did you talk to Chris about whether he double closed that?
He probably told me, but honestly, I don't remember.
Okay, so
Just curious.
He knows how to double close, and you can't do it in Vegas without any problems. So whether he did it for this one, I honestly don't know.
based on how we trained him and how he thinks and who he is, he probably did not do a double close. He probably did an assignment of contract and just allowed. But we might be having two different conversations. When you say double close, do you mean close it out and own it and then sell it?
Right.
Okay, I'm going to
Just so
challenge.
he doesn't show the profit on
No, I'm pretty sure his profit does show on the HUD.
it. Okay.
Okay, but see, everybody look at the face she just made. Would you do that again? Like she went. Why do people do that around wholesaling? Because we build relationships a lot of times, and we're good with the buyer coming in, but we've not let the seller know that we're going to turn around and flip the property. If I'm in a relationship with him, John, as a seller, and I get a massive discount on the property, my contract and everything is going to tell him, I'm buying this property for profit. I do this for a living. I'm going to turn around and sell the property for a price that you can't sell it for. I'm going to make an obscene amount of money very shortly. So that when he sees that on the HUD, he doesn't freak out. But technically by law, even if he freaks out, I've got it under contract, he can't do anything. But people don't want the emotional resistance. I address everything above board. And I'm going to encourage you guys to do that too. Yes, sir.
I want to add one thing to.
Did y'all catch that before he goes? Did y'all catch what I said? If it's confusing, please write it down. I'll make sure I answer before the end.
So it's not a double closing?
Well, I don't consider that a double closing. To me, that's an assignment of contract. And so I'm getting paid at closing. You could consider that a double closing, but to me, that's one closing. A double closing to me, I guess people would call that a double escrow. A double closing is actually closing the transaction, owning the property, and then selling. Even if that happens 5 minutes later. Yes, sir.
And isn't it more difficult to do double closings because of seasoning laws now? It's almost difficult.
Well, no, because double closings, if you're selling to the right person, you're going to sell to a cash buyer. If there's a cash buyer, it doesn't matter if it's an investor or not, if it's a cash buyer, there's never seasoning issues. The only time you ever have to worry about banking regulations is when you've got a buyer coming in that's getting institutional FHA or VA financing. okay? Don't let anybody tell you different, they're full of it, they're misinformed. Yes, sir?
Okay, so most of the time when there's a double closing issue or somebody's scared about who sees what on the HUD, most of the time it's the wholesaler worried about what the cash buying investor sees on the HUD. The wholesaler doesn't want to show, oh my God, I made 45,000 off it because it might offend the investor. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you right now, Chris doesn't care. The guy who did this, he doesn't care. It's not what the seller has, because just like Coach said, it's under contract, it doesn't matter, all right? Most people are afraid of offending whoever the cash buyer is. And if your relationship with the cash buyer is as strong as it should be, if everything and all expectations are set up front, it does not matter.
I agree. I agree.
So, when you close.
And if you're my buyer and you give me smack about what I'm making, guess what you'll never do again with me?
Business.
Buy real estate. Yes, sir.
So anybody who gets a closing and the buyer backs out at the moment of closing because they see there's too much profit there, hasn't developed that relationship and been able to.
That's correct. There's not been enough communication and there's not enough trust in the relationship. Or the buyer's just full on greedy.
Buy buyer.
Yes, sir. Buy. Next. Because I promise you, if you get this under contract at 200, you can still unload it quickly. May not be at 245 with 50K fixed up, but he can still, like, no matter what, Chris can unload this quickly. Like, boom. Y'all with me? Cool. So let's keep rocking. Where are we at on time, just so I know? 3:21, so I got about 40 minutes?
Yeah, and as long as they're not knocking at the door, we can keep going if people want to.
Okay, does anybody in the room need a break or water, potty break, any of that? We're cool, keep rocking? Okay, cool, let's keep rocking. So, next transaction. This is Chris as well. Wholesale transaction, same thing, contacted the absentee seller through direct mail. Tenants moved out and the property was quickly vandalized. What comes along with vandalization? Squatterization too, that's my word. High DMF in the seller. He offered the seller 60K. He also said again, including to personally pay. Now it's really important that you just don't go, I'll buy the property with the squatter. That's not enough. You want to say, I'll personally take care of the squatter for you. It's that little bit of extra phrase there that makes a big difference. Because you actually want to make a big deal that there's a squatter. You want to make sure that you say that I'll personally pay to get the squatter in, so that they know that they're not going to have to. Are you with me? Because even if you say I'll buy the squatter and everything, they'll still hear I've got to take care of the squatter. I don't know why they hear that, but sellers are crazy. Yes, sir?
Is it blatant in Vegas with a squatter problem, or is it just in low value
No,
areas?
no, it's blatant everywhere. It's blatant. It's blatant. Now, I have not seen it on the top level of, I haven't seen it in a penthouse on the Strip yet, but that doesn't mean it doesn't go on. I haven't seen it in the Ridges in, one of the multi-million-dollar communities on the west side, but I've seen it in $600,000 homes. I've seen it in $700,000 homes.
And single family, not seeing it in condos or apartments or anything?
Oh, condos and townhomes, just as much as single families, absolutely. Absolutely. They don't discriminate, they're looking for a vacant house. Now, single families are more available, so you see more of it, you hear more of it, but condos and townhomes too, absolutely. Yeah.
Equal opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. Free house, move in, possession, law on my side, they'll do it quick, yes? So in this case, he got it under contract at 60. I'd like everybody to practice this. Do 60,000 into 140 ARV. 60 against 140. No. Take 60,000 divided it into 140. Should give you a percentage, not 120. It's the other way. I'm just trying to come up with what my offer is against the ARV. It's 20-something%. I think it's like 43.
42%.
What is it?
42 and change.
42%. So my purchase price offer is 42% of the ARV. Y'all with me? Okay. When I flip to the next screen, it gets ugly. Yeah. I see where you're
My
going.
number is the reverse of one over 42.
Got it.
That's the.
But you're going to the profit. I want to walk everybody through the process.
Okay, that's what I get.
Gotcha. You know too much for us in this one. So 60K versus 140. Rehab determined to be 35K. Okay? Do this math for me. 60K plus 35. That's 95. Do 95 into 140. Anybody? 95 into 140.
68.
68. So if Chris gets the property under contract at 60, and he rehabs it himself, and it's fully functional rehab, he's at 68% ARV. That's a crush, because when he turns around and sells that, if he incurs every closing cost known to man and full commissions with real estate agents, he's still going to net about 22 to 23% net profit on it. That would be a crush, but he didn't do that. He's wholesaling it. So he sells it on the market to the rehabbers, and they offer him 85 for it, plus they got to put 35K into it. Does anybody see that? Yeah, and whoever's watching this on video, when you hear about this, if this is you, you and I need to talk, because I'm going to put my foot all the way in your rear end. Horrible purchase. Good for Chris, great wholesaler, but if you're the rehabber that did this, no bueno. I'm going to be really clear. I got no problem saying it to anybody. Horrible purchase. Let's prove it. So the cash buyer closed to Chris in 14 days. He profited 25K. Is that a good transaction for him?
Yes.
Next screen. Investor rehabbed the property. We're going to assume 35K. 85 plus 35. I'm sorry. Yeah, 85 plus 35. 120 into 140. Somebody do 120 into 140 for me. I think it's like 88%.
It's 86.
Yeah, so with commissions and everything, this person's going to net 4.5% net profit in the transaction. To me, that's horrible. Like, I would never write a check for 120 grand to see 4. Like, that's crazy. But instead, he tried to fudge. He says, well, the market's supposedly going up. I'm going to list it at 160. Falls out of escrow twice because people can't get financing or appraisals. Guess what he's effectively done? He's paid to park his money in Las Vegas. Listen to that. He paid money to park his money in real estate. Let me throw this at you, because I know y'all are having trouble believing this goes on at the level it does in Vegas. It goes on at the highest level. 2 years ago, the Nevada Energy, or NV Energy, reported that in Las Vegas, specifically Clark County, we had 40,000 homes in Clark County that were purchased for cash that never had the utilities turned on. These aren't foreclosed properties that people are up against it on. These are cash buyers that never turned on the electricity. Now, who do we know that is? That's international money parking in real estate, right? But it's not all international money. A lot of them are this guy that's trying to list it at 160 and can't. Are you with it? Now, I know that when he rehabs the property, he's going to turn the utilities on. Work past all that crap. This is a horrible purchase. I want y'all to be really clear with it. Yes, ma'am.
I have trouble getting my wits around. Chris is making money, but he's finding these rehabbers that are smart enough to know that it's a bad deal.
Okay, but that's not the right way to qualify. He doesn't sit around at his house picking it apart like I do as coach for y'all's sake. He says, hey, I got a property under contract at a great price. I put it to market. Somebody gave me 85 for it. Did he do anything wrong?
No.
No, he did everything right.
But so if he really had the savvy rehabbers going after his property, he wouldn't be making as much.
Can he
profit.
control the savvy rehabbers? Right, but let's reduce it down to reasonable. What's reasonable on a traditional wholesale? 5 to 7%, maybe 10%? He could unload it at that price and make it. He's making way more only because the market's crazy. Can you control crazy buyers?
No.
Anybody? Do y'all know that that's what feeds 90% of real estate agents?